So, welcome to the first ever diversity dialogue series. And this is a series that I'm going to be hosting with amazing leaders, and I have three of them with me today. So, what is the diversity dialogue? Right? It's really the conversations to see and feel diversity in action. And I use that as a pun, in action and sometimes inaction. We're going to talk about both. But as a result of that, the three E's, which is what the DD is about, which is really the experience, the embrace, and then the ability to evolve ourselves. So if you can get to the last point of saying, hey, we're all coming out ahead and the viewers can also evolve themselves, I think that'll be success. So again, well, welcome to the show. I have three amazing guests. So I have Meghan Jacquot. She is a cybersecurity specialist, a speaker, a mentor, and writer. I have Yasmin Ali, who is the CEO of Skillspire, and also an engineer by profession. And finally, we have Milica Lijeskic, who is the founder and CEO at KyberStorm, a CRM cybersecurity compliance subject specialist. So as you can see, this is a power-packed panel. So let's start with introductions. So Meghan, you want to go first?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ashwin, for having us all here to speak about this important topic as well. So my name is Meghan Jacquot, and I work in risk assessment, cybersecurity engineering with Cyber Future Foundation. And one of the initiatives that we work on with CFF is really trying to bring more diversity to the field and also help people get into the field. So that's really important to me from both the work that I do, and then I also do some volunteering that works on initiatives with this, with various organizations, Women in Cybersecurity, the Diana Initiative, Day of Security, and Women's Cyber Jitsu. So this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, to bring that 24% of women in cybersecurity up and to demonstrate representation in this field and industry.
Awesome. Yasmin.
I am Yasmin Ali, CEO and founder of Skillspire, a coding bootcamp that's based out of Bellevue, Washington. Skillspire is a software training organization specifically targeting underrepresented communities, women, minorities, and veterans. We're very focused on reaching out to different ethnic populations and communities where we want to level the playing field in tech. Very focused, being a woman and a minority woman. I know the challenges that I had to overcome and want to make it a little bit easier, if it's possible, to make that jump for other women that are out there who are wanting to get into tech.
All right, finally, Milica.
Well, no pressure after all these wonderful women. So my name is Milica Lijeskic. I'm a CEO of KyberStorm. We're a small cybersecurity firm. We focus on cloud security, cybersecurity, and regulatory compliance. Just like these two ladies, I also would like to invest more into the women that are trying to either move into the cybersecurity field, or maybe they want to move into the tech field. We as the company, that's one of our missions, to actually provide them with the infrastructure for that, to actually train them and then provide them mentoring as well, and guide them and navigate them through this field that is pretty large, right? If you don't have any guidance, you can get lost pretty quick.
All right, so that leads in directly into the first question. I know, Yasmin, you mentioned a little bit about that. So let's start with you first, which is stories of diversity, right? And again, I think for me, at least, like as somebody, again, I haven't had the minority badge thus far, but again, once I feel it, I want to do something about it, right? So again, any stories, Yasmin, that you have encountered personally, and you mentioned this briefly, and then the how, understanding what the problem is, and then how will we move forward, and how is that empowering others?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. So, just to start from just my personal thing, I took a break for, after working in the industry for almost 10 years, and I took a break for about 12 years. But I was, I think, lucky enough that I had a support system where, my husband comes from the tech industry. And so he was able to kind of help, kind of mentor me throughout the process. And also I got involved with a lot of volunteer work during that time. So I got to, work with people. And I guess then at the end of it, when I was looking to eventually start my career, it made that connection much easier. I knew, off the bat that, I didn't want to be in a 9-to-5 job. I wanted some sort of a marriage between tech and community, and I wanted to be out there helping people. So I think I had a good group of network where I could fall back on. And I now that, when I look back and I'm talking to students every single day coming from different backgrounds, they do lack that network. They do lack that support. That's huge, that sometimes that we take for granted. Just to bounce off ideas. It's like, hey, even when you're running a business, there's so many challenges that see every single day. And okay, the hiring things, the financials, the industry challenges that you have, the meeting new people and talking to them, just so many different things that if you have someone that you could actually go back and just those things are key. And I feel like women also sort of shy away from bringing up all these things, and I feel like I'm the only one who's going through this thing, when in fact I think every single entrepreneur, be it male or female, they do absolutely go through it. And so having that network, and and I think Women in Cloud, for instance, is doing a great job in that asking the right questions, giving us access to all those things are very key as we go through this this entrepreneurship pathway.
Great. So again, I know, Meghan, you are in the anvil of kind of breaking into cyber. I would argue you've actually broken in, but talk through about the challenges that you have personally faced, again, back to like what has helped you and how are you helping others?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, same thing with Yasmin. I'll start with personal first with this. So just growing up, I always loved technology and figuring out how things worked. And I took all the computer science classes through my, secondary schooling through high school. But then I never studied computer science in college. I never took a CS class. And that is a very, very common story. You'll have these women who enjoy tech, who find themselves drawn to it, but then it's either through, someone actively discourages them, or passively, or they just don't think about it. For whatever reason, they don't end up going into this field. So the career changing story, like my story, is very common, that someone might find themselves still being drawn to this field later on in life, and then they pivot to it. So just like I've completed my pivot. So I think some of the important things to notice and realize are that at any age you can make this change if this is what you want to do. It doesn't matter. And there really are lots of other people who will cheer you on as you're making that change. So it's kind of finding like, what is that group within your interest in technology? For me, it was cybersecurity. And then within cybersecurity, where are you going to kind of find that group that will really be like, yeah, we're celebrating you. They've done studies on this. It's a lot harder for women to often celebrate themselves. So like women who code do something called Applaud Her, where you actually share the successes of other women in order to recognize that other person. And it's easier for you to do that as opposed to share your own individual success. So it's kind of different things like that I think are really important to recognize, that, you are going to have, depending on what you do, you're going to have different things that projects you work on, successes you have. You need to share those. You need to share those with your network. You have to build that network, as Yasmin was also discussing, and then find that group of people who will be building you up as you're doing that, and will help celebrate along with you and say, huzzah, you've completed this, you just finished this. So I think that's really important.
Milica, your thoughts?
So I'm right there with Meghan. Actually, this is perfect segue because I don't have a tech background either, and I actually everything that I learned about cyber and cloud security is on my own and through the mentors I had, and that is one of the most important things to have, especially as I said in this field, because you can get lost quickly. And it took me a while because at the beginning I didn't really have many mentors, right? Like I was kind of looking for something else to do that was really taught, like speaking to my soul versus just, checking off the boxes that I was working on, like project management side, for example. And the moment I actually started learning about the cloud and working in the AWS environment, for example, I was like, this is it. This is where I want to be. And that really, like, when they clicked, it clicked. And then I found other groups, other supporting groups that you can, join, like, Women in Cloud, where they actually really push you to do better and be engaged, and they give you mentors. I mean, it's amazing. Same with the Women Cybersecurity, and that was my first organization that I signed up and volunteered, and it was like amazing experience, right? So the community really is important, especially for us. And I think Yasmin said that, like, really, like, it can be intimidating, right? Because you step into this field that it's not your ground and you're trying to make it. And if you don't have that support, it can be really, really hard. But that's why my company that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to support these women and men. So we want to support them as they are moving right now, especially with COVID, right? Like, we see that pivot, people are trying to pivot from one, career into another, and they need that support, and they need someone to give them a chance. Quite often I see that organizations don't give a chance to people who are starting, like, fresh, and then maybe had a different career, and now they're trying to, like, do something in the cybersecurity field, for example, and they just don't give them a chance. They're like, oh yeah, you have no experience. But they can't have experience if you don't give them a chance to have that experience, right? So I think that's extremely important, again, to have that community that you can lean on, and mentors that can guide you on what kind of courses to take, which path you want to go down to. Like, do you want to do management side? Do you want to do technical side? Because there are so many different options, right? And then really depends on, like, what you feel like you can do, right? What your skills are. You don't necessarily have to be too technical to be technical, right? You can learn those skills. Being able to communicate and really communicate to the C-level people in the company, that is probably one of the most important things in a technical person, because sometimes we really get stuck into, like, the jargons and what we see, and there's the vulnerabilities right here, and this crash your system. And if we don't put that in a right a language for them to understand, it just goes over their head. They're like, all right, I don't know what you're talking about, and you are not important. So quite often we have those moments, like, and you learn that as you go, right? But you have those moments, especially as, like, me, I think for myself as a woman, right? I had many moments where I was sitting in a room and only men. And I'll tell you, I was pretty intimidated, even though I'm, a pretty confident person, but that was really intimidating. And sometimes you would say certain things and it literally either just goes over their head, or they are not thinking the same way as you do. And it's just, you don't get any feedback. Then you feel even worse why you even said something. So, it's a challenge, especially in the tech community right now, because it's mostly, men leading the tech community. So it can be challenging, but it's a work in progress. And I think we can all work together to, change that, make it more inviting for others to join, right?